Great chiropractors and physical therapists are under constant pressure of declining insurance reimbursements and long hours. But did you know there's a way to double your profit without working more? By building a gym onto your practice, you can earn more income, stabilize your business, and be a hero to your family, patients, and team. It's a big undertaking with a huge reward. Dr. Josh Satterley has done it, changed his life, and now wants to help you do the same. Welcome to Clinic Gym Radio.
Today I'm interviewing Tom Plummer, and Tom is certainly been a mentor of mine and an advisor, and one of the first people that ever said, like, look at this training gym model as a business and it'll be wildly successful. So, Tom, can you give everybody a little bit of your background?
Yeah, I'm always embarrassed talking about myself on that, but I've been around about 40 years in the industry. I was kind of back when the changes were starting to happen. In fact, most of the clients that I work with, we created the new kind of the modern training gym concept, and that came around in the late 90s. So I've had stints on the mainstream side, and as that failed, we started to create more of the training-centric model, and that's proven to be just, it's changing the world right now. And just, again, not even just in this country, but all around the world. And it's an incredible run being this. I still teach probably 20 workshops a year around the world, and very blessed. I get to see somewhere between probably 8,000 to 10,000 people a year show up, and had a few books out and things. So yeah, I've been around for a while. I'm getting to the point where I'm just becoming that guy. It's old enough with just enough gray hair to be that guy. So I've been around the industry a long time. It's been a good run.
Nice. Well, that's awesome. Now, for those of you who are wondering what we mean by training gym, that's kind of the smaller gym, maybe 20 people in a class that's being coached by a coach, rather than the 24-hour fitnesses of the world that are just a room full of equipment and kind of go as you please, right?
Yeah, the mainstream big box gym is starting to fade very quickly. There's two consumers out there. There's one. In fact, if any of your listeners, a good book to read is, especially for the type of person that you deal with, that professional doctor person that's considering opening a training gym, there's a book called 113 Million Markets of One. And that's just absolutely a phenomenal book for anybody interested in trying to analyze the clients that come to the business and what they're trying to do. But the mainstream guys, that side is about 2/3 of our population, the people that would be interested in that type of gym. They're big boxes, they're low priced, sometimes pathetically low price, down to $5 a month memberships. They're crowded. You don't get any help in there, but it's just, it's the illusion of fitness. Those are killing each other. They're fighting. They're kind of destroying each other. On the other side is a whole new generation of training gyms, and these are smaller, usually somewhere between 1,500 to about 7,500 square feet. They'll have anywhere from 125 to maybe 300 clients. The clients are the more sophisticated client. They're not so concerned about the money. They're concerned about what they get from the money. That book does a great job of illustrating that type of client. They're different. They're usually early adapters. They're very tech-savvy people, no matter what age they are. They're exclusively on social media, which spells a lot of what your clients are going to have to do in the coming years to kind of promote their own businesses. It's that client is there, and there's been a gym that's evolved around them. And these gyms are usually smaller. They're very, very results-driven. There's usually the coaches are much, much better than the mainstream gyms, 10 times better in most cases than that. And it's a fun nuance, but it's also becoming the fastest growing segment in the last 10 years. There's probably 400 of these open quarterly in the United States versus if you look at the big box chain, the big box gyms, there's probably not 20 of those a year from all the major chains. There actually is a positive net opening because they're actually closing more than they're opening these days.
Wow. Yeah. I work out right now at a Lifetime, and it is a big box gym. But the one thing that Lifetime has done is, they realized quickly that they could have this huge facility and it doesn't mean anything. So they've, started doing swim lessons for the kids and tennis lessons for the tennis ladies. And they have the, essentially their alpha classes, which is like a CrossFit within the gym. So anywhere they could install coaching or training, they did. And they're the only gym model that I see that's actually in that net growth phase.
Yeah, that's if they indeed are, because they were publicly traded at one point. They went back to private. Those gyms are somewhere. They state on their website $30 million a year a piece to build.
Ooh.
You can have 10,000 of your closest friends hanging out, but there's you come back to a training gym and you got 300 people all on the same mission. The money guys don't care. That's I think that's the big mistake that type of gym has made, is they assume that the money guys want to hang out in these big piles of people in these overly done gyms, and that's not the case. That's people that 1/3 of the population I'm called the neo person, New Economic Order. Again, I think that book does a wonderful job talking about it, but that type of client, they're the ones that go to small, intimate restaurants. They're the ones that like to hook people up with a good bottle of wine. They're the ones that, they're early adapters to new technology, but new bars, new restaurants. They find the hot vacation spots. They usually drive the trendier cars. They're the Tesla people, the free Mac people, three different Apple products minimum to qualify. That type of person.
They all have to be the same color too. You can't be having a rose gold iPhone and a dark gray MacBook, right?
Of course not. But then again, if you make a couple $100,000 a year and work out in a training gym, you've got the money to trade those phones and stuff. But I just saw a funny thing that it's the new iPhone, for example, cost about $1,000. Well, you can buy the entire menu at a typical buffet or a typical any of these little fast food places like Denny's or anything for usually about $800 average. So you could go and buy everything on the whole stupid menu for the same price of one phone. And you're like, well, that's why you should buy the phone. But every guy that makes money is going, well, that's why I should buy the phone because I can, because they're never going to be the guy that's eating in that type of place. So it's a crack up. You see that type of comparison, but the money guy spends money where he wants to because he will buy the results he wants.
Yeah, and we're seeing this with those kind of wealthier, I don't say wealthier, but certainly higher income folks. Their expectations in healthcare are increasing as well, right? And so along with them wanting to get the best chiropractic or physical therapy treatments, they want a lot more included in that menu, right?
That's where, and I think a lot of the health practitioners, especially as you reference chiropractors and PTs, are very late to that dance because there's a cash client out there. One example I use is it's like I was talking to a PT, and he was asking questions in one of my workshops, and I'm like, well, tell me about if I had a shoulder impingement, what's the how many sessions would that take? And he goes, well, you'd be 6 to 8 sessions and probably around $60 a session national average. I'm going, okay. So what if you did this? What if you charged me $499 a month for 3 months? And the first month I saw you and you got me out of pain. First 30 days is out of pain. Second 30 days, stabilization. The third 30 days is strength, because nothing more frustrating than a PT is for them to fix the patient and then send them back into the environment that destroyed him in the first place.
Right.
So here's something where you could charge this guy $1,500 and he'd be thrilled to pay it because he wants that type of support. And so the guys that are doing 6 or 8 sessions and grinding it out with the insurance companies, there's a generation of clients out there that are looking for leadership from the chiropractors, from the physical therapists. And they're trying to figure out, okay, what can you do for me beyond this? And so this young therapist, he goes, well, I can't believe people will pay for that. And about half the hands went up in the room and they go, well, God, we pay for that all day long. These are the guys that spend a lot of money for seminars, a lot of money, to travel, to do. So of course you pay for that, but not everybody, about 1/3 of the population. But that client exists, but nobody's created yet enough programs for that guy to fit. And then the side thing is, if I've got that guy and I've done 90 days with this, so first 30 days I'm working with the PT or chiro directly, then I'm kind of next 30 kind of working with him and his team. The third 30 days, I might be working exclusively with one of their minions, be it a trainer or an assistant of some type. So your labor costs are down. Your return is at least 40 to 50% net on this thing. It's just kind of a no-brainer, but people have to try to create that in mind that there's this client. And then the next obvious step on that is, why don't I have a little 3,000-foot gym attached to my practice where these guys will come and pay an average of somewhere around $300 a month to be part of a gym with a great coach, supervised by a chiro or the doctor, and I don't have to return to the population that killed me in the first place. It's just such an obvious no-brain step for a good practitioner that's really truly health-based. Meaning, I have an interest in training. I have an interest in my own life as a PT or as a chiro. Mm-hmm. Why wouldn't I not chase that client and create an environment and charge them a lot of money to have a little bit of a side practice? And people think it's all cash.
And I think the other side of the coin is most of the great PTs and chiros out there, certainly coming out of that world of SFMA and TPI and FMS, would tell you that the best maintenance care long-term, 3 years after you've gotten rid of Tom's shoulder impingement, what do you want him to be doing? What kind of care would be the best? And it's, hey, I think it's really good exercise led by somebody knowledgeable in a program that is from the standpoint of injury prevention, not, can we compete at the CrossFit Games or something? But, when you line that up, so you not offering that gym is almost like saying, hey, I don't feel that strongly about exercise. And these guys do. It's like you said, it's a no-brainer.
There's a certain, there's our chiropractors, of course, that their practices are more toward the, in their minds, the non-traditional client. But even with Mrs. Johnson, that 60-year-old female that's just beat to shit, physically, but she comes in there, she still could benefit from a little gym with a professional coach. She could come in and do some strength training a couple times a week, and she could work under the supervision of her chiro PT. And she'd be in the safest hands anywhere, and she'd probably get in the best shape of her life, and she'd be able to continue her life for another 30, 40 years because she's getting the type of help that I'm a strong believer in. The workout you do now is what's going to happen to you in 10 years. So we don't work out for today, we work out for 10 years from now. So if I'm 60 and I want to be the best 70-year-old person I could be, then that's the type of workouts I should be doing now. And that's where chiropractors and physical therapists have a great advantage over even a traditional trainer because they can piece it together and keep me healthy, but lay out a plan that takes me a decade into my future. So you got Johnson in there. She comes in, she's overweight, kind of destroyed and beat up like a lot of people that have never really had somebody looking after them. And 10 years from now, she could be the strongest 70-year-old in the neighborhood. She could have a mobile life. She could be the top 5% of all the people in that age group in the country because she hung out with a physical therapist, a chiropractor that had the vision to understand that, look, I'm going to get you healthy now, but what's going to happen now is going to lay the foundation for 10 years. So, step aside, come into my little gym. It's just.
And if she's known in her group as the most independent person, meaning when they travel, she needs the least amount of help. When they're, she's sitting in a couch, she can get out of that couch, no knee pain, no back pain, no weakness problems. When she starts attributing that to you as a trainer, the marketing it's so simple after that, right? Everybody over the age of 70 is scared to death about losing their independence. And if you offer that to them and keep them healthy, they're willing to do anything for you.
Yeah, that's another just craziness that I just would like to scream at every chiropractor and physical therapist on the planet is, you've had success. You have clients. Most of them don't like to market. And I don't want them to traditionally market anything connected to price or anything connected to free sessions or anything, but I wish they would run. If it's just a typical chiropractor ran a 1.5-minute clip of a client going through life feeling better because of his experience with the chiropractor, and he boosted that in his market on Facebook for $10 and did it 10 miles from his practice. Anybody from 27 years old or older, for example, 25 or older, 27, 10 miles from the practice. And he just did that 3 or 4 days a week, rotating clients. He should have them about 6 days a week, but he rotates them 2 or 3 days a week. And just that's all you would ever need to do. That's because you've had success. Why not let people speak for you? It's not unethical to do that. It doesn't demean the being a doctor or a chiropractor or a physical therapist. All you're letting your clients do is look. I met Josh and I was in a lot of pain, and I couldn't play golf, and my life had changed, and all of a sudden, here I'm. So there's a video of me smacking a golf ball, or getting out of the car without pushing both hands and pushing off the side door and all this type of stuff. It's just it's crazy that we guys have so much success, but they don't use their clients to speak for them and let the world know within 10 miles of their business how good they are. I find that social media marketing is easy, but we make it complicated. That your success clients speak for you.
Right. Well, that's, so many people, the biggest struggle in their marketing is they just don't have a clear message as to what the hell they do. And then once they have that clear message, everybody in the world wants your client to tell that message, not the people that own the business tell that message. And that becomes the issue. If your clients aren't clear on your message either, then, you got a problem. So anyways, Tom, I want to ask you a business question, if you don't mind us changing gears just a little bit. Most chiropractic offices or PT offices, it's pretty easy for that single provider, if they got a good staff and they're cooking with their systems, they can do about $300,000 to $500,000 of gross revenue a year, roughly, and that's depending on where you are. And sometimes insurance clinics are a lot lower than that. Some of these cash guys I know are poking the $700,000 a year mark, but $300,000 to $500,000 a year is pretty common. What would it take in the gym model to produce that similar amount of revenue?
I referenced one of my long-term clients. You and I both know him because he came through Titleist back in the day when we were starting there. But a guy named Frank Nash, I admire this guy. I think he's one of the most talented young coaches I've ever had the privilege of working with. But he has a little training gym. It's 5,500 square feet. He's in a blue-collar town in middle part of Massachusetts. He's got 43 competitors, 43 different fitness options within 7 miles of this gym. It's unbelievable. But he is still the highest priced gym in the area. And this year he did about $1.7 million with 350 clients. And next year we're targeting $2 million. And he does this again with about 350 clients, and they average around $289 a month per client. So when you look at what a chiropractor has to do to make 500, and if you look at the training clients, literally if I have 125 clients averaging at about somewhere around 250, which for most of the markets, especially out in the western part of the country, most of those markets are pretty cheap. I'm just checking my math here, but if I had 125 times 250 before collection expenses, I'd be doing 31,000 there just off that. And that's just a set return on it. It's just simple, easy money. 31,000 a month, you're looking at 36,000 a year just in additional revenue. So it's so much easier in many ways to make money through the training side of it as trying to grind it out as a chiro. But if I had the best of both worlds, I was a chiro up in that 500,000 to 600,000 range, and I had a small gym next door doing a $1.2 million, 100,000 a month, which is very doable in most markets. And you're going to net about 40% of that. So that's you've got a $2 million business, and somewhere in that range, 1.5 to 2 if you push it a little, and you're going to keep 40 to 50% of that. A guy can live off 800,000 a year.
Yeah, I mean that's only one trip to Disney World if you go for the high-end suite and you stay for a whole week, but I think they can survive.
Yeah, you'd have to be unless you're in Rancho Mirage or someplace, but most guys can handle that. But it's still there's the potential that's again, as you can probably hear the frustration in my voice. That's the potential with a good physical therapist and a good chiropractor is they just get so much money on the table.
Yeah. Now, are you seeing this pop up more and more? I mean, we can't be the only two people on the planet that think this is the perfect marriage of two businesses.
I'm in the last 3 years, we used to get, chiros drifting in and guys but they would be more guys interested in the sports aspect, or they're working with athletes or something. The last 3 years, I've seen more mainstream guys, meaning just regular good old chiropractors and PTs popping in that I've never seen before. And I think the insurance is getting harder. Obviously, most everybody knows that, but I think they just see the potential. Plus, they just see it's no longer a gym like the old one where you kind of rip people off and kind of had that high pressure sales, everything that people hated about fitness. The training gym actually matches the professionalism of most of the chiros and PTs. Charlie Weingroff is a perfect example. He works he's a PT. He works out of a gym in New York on South Broadway. The gym owner is a crazy man, Don Saladino, one of the, I believe he's the single best coach in all of New York City. His personal out the door for about $1,000 an hour, but he's got 15,000 square feet. Charlie has an office in there. So Charlie is charging $500 an hour. And he's worth every penny of it, and he's getting $500 an hour, and he's got clients that come and they come and work with him, but he also takes them out on the floor and works them out. So for that hour, you may be in his office for 10 or 15 minutes, but part of your treatment might be out on the floor. And he has a couple of secondary guys that help him, but it's an amazing process. And his numbers are just amazing. This guy's changing the world through the process. I'm seeing more and more guys like that are figuring out that it's not just all about manipulation or about getting a bunch of minions and taking people to a traditional PT clinic. It's that plus the fact that I could own a secondary business that supports the primary and actually make more money out of the secondary. Yeah, a big change in the last couple of years, Josh. Amazing amount of these guys coming through. They're kind of getting it finally.
Yeah, and if you have a unified front and you have some decent business management that you can kind of spread around both businesses, it's so simple. It's so simple. I tell people that because in my opinion too, from a healthcare perspective, you can deliver about a good trainer that's trained well in rehab and kind of knows the whole model top to bottom can do about 80% of what a good PT or chiropractor can do. But yet they do it at about, I don't know your experience, but I think at about 50% of the cost. So you're getting 80% of the usage, 50% of the cost.
Yeah, they're amazingly effective, and they're cheap to open. If you can get the space secured, they should. This is a side note. If I have space next to that, I'm still going to run them as two separate businesses.
Right.
So, chiropractic business under one name, or run the gym under another name because I might want to sell one or both of them at some point. They're much easier to sell if they have separate corporations and separate books. But that said, 3,000 square feet perform better. They're they're the biggest company in this country for support for gyms. They sell rack systems, kettlebells. I mean, they're just a phenomenal company. They have at their headquarters, they have a little 3,000-foot sample gym where they kind of lay out stuff and you can try products, and they have turf down there. It's a cool gym, but the whole gym was $52,000. It would rock for something to put next to a chiropractic thing. So these guys I think they got the illusion that these are going to be $1 million gyms, but if you got the space, you can open one of these for about $75,000 all in for equipment and stuff. You got a little bit of leasehold, but they're somewhere between $75,000 to $125,000 business. And I mean, that's not even a good car in most markets. So for the start of that, I think create a business that can generate $1 million a year. And it's just, so the startup cost is low. Pretty easy to raise money for that, especially through clients and other local investors. It's incredible. They're coming. They're coming because they're cheap. They're effective. They're coming because a whole new generation of physical therapists and chiropractors understand the relationship of keeping them in your system so they stay healthy longer and you can make more money from it. Just all the indicators are pushing it toward this is going to be a good run at this in the next 10 years.
I'll get back to the rest of the interview with the granddaddy of fitness, Tom Plummer, right after this quick message.
Are you a chiropractor or physical therapist working long hours, worrying about lower repayments and missing out on quality time with your family? You can double your income without working more hours by adding a gym to your practice. Clinic Gym Hybrid Solutions has a step-by-step guide that dramatically simplifies and speeds up the addition of a fitness center and its monthly recurring revenue. In just 6 months, you can be on your way to freedom. Visit clinicgymhybrid.com today for a free downloadable PDF and complimentary consultation to get you started. That's clinicgymhybrid.com.
So along this training gym model, it really relies on the trainers themselves, right? Those are going to be your key employees in this situation. Can you talk a little bit about, a lot of people think, it's really hard to find good talent, and they put out an ad for a personal trainer and they're looking at their programming that they're already doing. And my take is always, don't worry about the programming. You're going to teach them your own model that's probably better than what they're operating with. But how would you suggest people go about finding that right person, the right trainer that's going to become a huge part of their clinic?
Well, that's a good question. When we say trainers, almost everybody thinks of that 26-year-old male that's got his shirt off doing a selfie, and then you see it pop up on, just checking my abs today. It pops up on Facebook, and you go puke in the bathroom and get over it. But it's just that that's not the guy. So if I was a chiropractor, the first thing is, since you've got all that education, to go pick up a training certificate. Pick up something like Mike Boyle's Functional Strength Coach. You can do it online. You go take a one-day practical, and with all the medical experience and body experience that Chiro has, because you need to understand your product. It is a different product. So being educated, even though you never trained anybody, you still need to understand that. But if I can control the product as a doctor or as a physical therapist, then the coaches, I don't have to be these 26-year-old testosterone monkeys. They have to be, I can get that 40-year-old female that loves training, that's looking for 20 hours a week, and she's a perfect hire because you can create the programs from the top down. They don't have to write their own programs. So that's once it's created, I just need good, strong people that can carry out the mission. So they don't have to be physical therapists. They don't have to be chiropractors. They have to be, and I like non-traditional trainers. I like guys that are 40, 50 years old. I like that 35-year-old female that's got a couple of kids that she's so interested in training, but she only has 20 hours a week. They're there. There's plenty of them, and they're willing to do the work. And most of the time we put them on a flat hourly wage, anywhere from, in the South, $15 an hour to, even in New York, we're only paying $30 an hour. So you've got, they're available. We put them on flat wages, and we get non-traditional ones, but much easier to find than people think. But whoever owns the business needs to get enough training and experience, because if I'm going to open a restaurant, I may not want to be a chef, but I'm going to take a lot of cooking lessons because I want to understand the process. And if I'm going to open a gym, I may not train a lot of clients, although I think everyone should train clients to get the experience, but I need to learn that. Then I need to pick up these beyond the basic certification. I want to get a functional movement screen, that level 1 and level 2, FMS. I need to learn that. I might pick up some nutritional stuff. So for somebody like John Berardi and Precision Nutrition, very ethical, very, very classy program, a lot of behavior modification. Probably the gold standard right now. But if I've got FMS, I've got Boyle's Functional Strength Coach, I've got Precision Nutrition. A very traditional one is, of course, ACE, American Council of Exercise. They're one of the largest provider in the world of that type of education online. If I stay with the top end stuff and get that education, I can run one of these gyms. And then there's workshops, mine, for example, that teach people.
Shameless plug, but that's all right, Tom. Your workshops would start me down this path, so I hope you do promote it.
Yeah, right down the middle. So, there's ways to get this type of information. And the business side of it, once you get the structure, it's just carrying it out. Mostly, if you're smart enough to be a chiropractor PT, you're smart enough to run a good business. So, it's just gathering information. There's nothing magical about it. It's just good business practice, and it's just learning how to be that type of business guy with a different aspect. And but there's enough coming. It's getting pretty interesting.
Yeah, it's fantastic. And I will tell you, the best course I've taken in the last 2 years probably was that CFSC, that Certified Functional Strength Coach. I highly recommend it. It's just a systematized version of training. And what I found is that it really helped me actually provide better rehab as well. And, again, those things work so easily together. And FMS will make you a better doctor as well. So not that any of your patients come in overweight, but precision nutrition is probably good too. So all these are just perfectly helping you become a better clinician as well as a better business owner when you add that gym. So we address the model, we address the finding the trainers. Now, I got to tell you, one thing that drives me nuts, and I got to say to my PTs, I love you, but my God, you guys are so, the belief in themselves is so low. And you were a guy that's always inspired me to like reach farther, reach farther, reach farther. Tom, can you give some people a little bit of motivation here on what can be done? I mean, you're helping trainers become business owners, and we're talking about people that already have a business, but what do you think can be done in this lifetime, in this model? I don't know. I just want to hear some inspiration from the great Tom Plummer. This is why people buy the front row tickets.
If situational awareness means that you're mindful of what's going on in the world around you, the industry where you function. If you're paying attention right now, it's period. So if 5 years ago, even I'm saying even just 5 years ago, people viewed chiropractors as those people that want to sell 30. You come and see me 4 times a week for the next 60 weeks, and here's a package. Physical therapy was something you do if you were, beat up in a car wreck or a little lady, and that you were referred from your doctor so you could learn to get out of the chair. They were good, but they were never viewed as primary, being in that leading the charge for health and wellness. And I think in the last 5 years, that's changed a lot. There are guys like even Charlie is a perfect example of a guy that makes a tremendous amount of money as a PT, but he's opened up the door to other PTs by saying, this is what's possible. It's just like Roger Bannister, I think it was 1956. Nobody ever ran a 4-minute mile. When he actually tried it, there were guys standing there, doctors, thinking this guy's going to die. They thought he was going to go fast enough that there's going to be some kind of internal organ issue, and they expected him to collapse and die on the track because nobody could do that. And he ran it, of course, and that same year, 9 other guys went and did the same thing. What were they waiting for? Well, there's a lot of PTs and chiros that really have a strong belief in what they do in health, the long-term wellness. And they're getting better at it because their tools are better. I just think the chiropractor of today is better than they were a couple decades ago. I think the physical therapists are light years ahead. So we now have guys like Charlie opening the door and saying, it's okay, you can do this. Here's permission, go make a tremendous amount of money doing what you believe. It's not just fixing people that are in pain, trying to solve dysfunction, but actually say, look, I can help you be healthy for the rest of your life at a standard you didn't even realize was possible. And that just is now existing, where there's guys standing up and going, yeah, I want to be that guy. I want to be that. But they were waiting for somebody to go first. So that's the big shift. And that's why I think it's so important to catch the wave now, because you don't have to be that Mrs. Johnson's PT doing that stuff. You can be somebody that believes in health, believe in wellness, believe in strength training, believe in long-term solutions to health instead of short-term fixing the problem and sending them home. It's just there's so much here now that never existed before. So, yeah, I guess the motivational part of this is there's just never been a better time to be a chiro that believes in long-term health and wellness, or physical therapists that can out there and change the world, because now people understand what the hell you're talking about for the first time. And there's guys making $1 million a year doing this. So, yeah, it's the timing is, I think, all the stuff we talked about, it's just perfect timing to doing what you guys are doing.
And if you were talking to that 30-year-old young professional chiropractor, PT, been in practice for 2, 3, 4 years, got a young kid or two at home, has a, wife or a husband that's in love with them, and they're looking out at the next 5 to 10 years. If they're right now taking home $100,000 a year, it's nothing to sneeze at. But what do you think's possible if they kind of get their business shoes on and say, hey, I'm going to step up. I'm going to be a business owner. I'm going to build some systems and find the right mentors like Tom Plummer and go to his workshop and whatnot. But if they did that, what do you think's possible in 5 to 10 years, income-wise?
That's the income. The first thing about money is I always have that talk with them. It's just money only has one purpose, and that's to provide freedom. It's freedom to live life on your own terms. It's freedom to live in whatever town you want. It's the freedom to never be held hostage by an employer. It's the freedom to take risk, or put enough money away when you take a year off when your kids are, 18 and you want to go spend some time with them and travel, the world on, I just had one guy I've had this talk with, and he started young. He's only 29 now. He's never been without a job. He just got right out of school. So his 30th birthday, he's taken 3 months off. He's got a backpack going to Europe to ride the trains for just 90 days. He's going to enjoy freedom because he's got money. So when we talk about money, first thing you understand, money is just a tool to allow you to live your life. We don't chase money to chase money. It's not about cars or bigger houses or things like that. It's about the ability to live life the way you want to live it. And, I tell guys now, get smaller houses, get more life, get more experiences. So starting with that premise, going back, so I'm 30 years old and I make $100,000. That's good money when you're 100, but that's shit money when you're 40. Because it's not enough to change your world. It's not enough to be secure. You got 3 kids now. You got a mortgage. You've got a couple of decent cars, and you're overhoused most likely, like most guys are at that age group. And all of a sudden, you go in, well, that $100,000 is pathetic. It's nothing. So the thing is, if you're going to chase this, don't chase the money to chase the money. Chase your potential. It's chase how good you can be. Live up to the talent you have and chase that. And the money comes along with that, usually pretty strongly. A guy like I referenced earlier, Frank Nash. The guy makes a tremendous amount of money. He's only not even quite 40 yet. Guy could have retired probably 10 years ago. He works because he just enjoys the process of changing lives. He has money. He works now for a different reason. So what's the potential of the direct question? If I'll make 100,000. Somewhere in there, I think the minimum standard now for as of today is if you need to make at least 250 to 300,000 personally per year to even hold your own. It's just if you're not doing that, it's hard to have the kids and keep up. It's hard to have those adventures. It's hard to put enough money away. And to be able to save for your future, save for your spouse's future, to save, to help the kids in whatever parameters you want to help them within. But you can't make it. Yeah, you don't have to have money to be happy. The day your kid gets sick or your parents need help and you need to put up 10 or 20,000 to help them. The day that your best friend crashes somewhere and you need 5,000 to help them. And money's never important until it is, and then when it is, it's really important. So,
yeah. To your point, I have a friend who's a PT in the Napa area. I've spoken about him before. Super savvy business guy. And, he's got 3 clinics. He runs them really well. And the funny thing is he said, I don't need to make more than $275 a year, which in Napa's, that's not a lot, right? But his house is paid off because he does good business. But he also takes his goal is 130 days off next year, 130. While making that 275, that's not a bad life. And the guy's, he's gone heli skiing up in Whistler. He's hiked the entirety of Zion National Park and the Narrows. He's done every adventure you could find in a magazine, and he just does it. And he lives life, and it's just amazing. And yet he started with the same license as so many others who are stuck inside those 4 walls, not achieving that.
Yeah, if you're that 30-year-old guy, it's just, wouldn't it be nice on your 45th birthday, which these guys probably could, if they got after it and chased it 15 years, you're putting probably, what would that take? Probably, 20,000, 25,000 a year away minimum, extra cash in there. Wouldn't it be nice on your 45th birthday just to take a year off? and just, go sit in Hawaii somewhere for a year on the beach and just, take your kids on a train ride through Europe to do something like that. I wish more people would think about, let's chase this for a while, but let's take a break, and then if they want to go back and open another practice, they can. If they want to sell their practice, they can. If they want to take a junior partner in and just live, through a small salary, they can. But money gives you options, and I love the way that guy thinks. 130 days a year. I did that for 10 years in a row in skiing. I worked real hard most of the year, but I'd ski all winter. We'll work a couple weekends and just hang out and ski because I wanted to get my 120, 130 days a year skiing in. And so it can be done, but you have to choose the life you want. But a lot of guys 30 years old and making 100, especially if we hadn't had all the kids yet and stuff, it sounds like a lot of money, but over time, it's not enough to live the life you want to do. And the other side of this is I see a lot of guys that I think the hardest call I ever take as a consultant is I get that call a couple times a month with a guy late 50s, and he wakes up one day and he's got $3,000 in the bank, and he realizes he's going to have to work every day the rest of his life. He says, how do I catch up? I really need to start putting some money away. And I got to tell the guy, you're going to be the greeter at Walmart when you're 85 because you're never going to have enough money to ever quit because you're never on Social Security, you really save nothing. So congratulations, you're going to have to work every day till you die. So let's see if we can minimize this. And that's a hard call, but that's sadly not a rare call.
Yeah, that's too bad. Well, hey, Tom, I know that you're a busy guy. You got a lot of people to help out. How can people, if they want to sit in on one of your workshops, they want to hear you speak, what's the best way for them to find you?
It's a couple ways. One, just go to the Perform Better site. They're hosting all my workshops next year. My schedule will be on there. We're doing a number of almost exclusively 2 days next year. We're launching in Providence mid-January, off to Dallas. We're going to San Francisco in March, I think it is. Everything's listed on the Perform Better site. It'll be listed either directly through the Perform Better or through the National Fitness Business Alliance, which is my company. So either way you can find it. I'd invite everybody to listen to you. Stop by my public figure page. I write some about business, a lot about life on there, and people are always welcome to stop by there. But I'm pretty easy to find. Perform Better site or just the National Fitness Business Alliance or just message me on Facebook. I'll be out there 16 times at least next year. I know you have some international guys that follow you, so I'm going to be in Australia at the end of April doing 4 days of workshops there for a couple thousand people. So I'm kind of looking forward to that, and that's going to be kind of fun. But yeah, I'm out there. I'm easy to find, and I invite everybody to come see me, and maybe I can help you with your business.
There you go. Yeah, well, Tom certainly has been a great person to share beer with at different summits and down in San Diego at the World Golf Fitness Summit and many places. So, Tom, I can't thank you enough for all the information you shared with everybody today. It's great hearing you. I hope they do find you, and guys, follow him on his Facebook page. I'll put a link of it on the show notes because every day you just kind of remind us what's really important in life. And that money, like you said, is the freedom to get there. So I want to say thank you on behalf of my listeners. And Tom, any last parting words you want to share?
Oh, thank you very much. I appreciate it. I've enjoyed watching your success over the years, and I think you're doing some good work with this. I think there's opportunity. I'm glad you're providing the leadership for these chiros and PTs because I think venturing into the gym world as an enhancement for their practice, I think that's a good strategy. Besides the fact that you can change the world, there's also some good money in it too. So yeah, I think you're doing good work there. So thanks for the opportunity. I'm glad to meet all your listeners, and I hope I see everybody around.
I appreciate it, Tom. Well, like Tom said, you can go change the world and make a little bit of money doing it as long as you maximize that license, add a gym to your clinic, and the rest is easy. So on behalf of Tom Plummer, I'm Dr. Josh Satterley. Say, go out there, change the world, maximize your license. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks for listening to Clinic Gym Radio. If you're ready to double your profit without working longer hours, please visit clinicgymhybrid.com and find out how easy it is to get started on your path to freedom. That's clinicgymhybrid.com.